Very good Friday to everybody. Thanks for clicking on to today's European Outlook. Let's get straight to it then. This is the last 90-day temperature anomalies of CDAS for the continent of Europe, and it is very warm compared to average. Very few places have seen a 90-day anomaly below average. You can see here very, very marginal across parts of Western Iberia and also across Eastern Turkey, north side of the Black Sea also, but generally speaking it is firmly warmer than average over the last 90 days. So you're talking pretty much the past 3 months in terms of the temperature anomaly. Looking at the month to date then, so far we're obviously on day 9 of May. You can see it's actually been quite cooler than average across much of Norway, Sweden, Finland, into Western Russia. The Baltic states has been quite chilly this May so far, and that extends into parts of Poland also, where you've got the low pressure trapped underneath high pressure. We've had below average conditions as well as wetter than average conditions across much of Spain and Portugal. So looking at the upcoming, let's have a look at the ECM weeklies for today, and let's have a look at the pressure surface pressure anomaly chart over the next 7 days. And it's looking like this here. So you've got the essentially high pressure with low pressure underneath. That has been the mainstay of the season so far. March and April has really looked very similar to this in terms of strong high pressure over the UK and Ireland. We've had low pressure trapped underneath, so anomalously wet conditions across Iberia, anomalous dry conditions across much of the UK as well as Ireland. Looking at precipitation then over the next 7 days, no surprise with this setup. We've got firmly drier than average conditions, and in terms of the temperature, we are looking like this over the next 7 days, so firmly above average temperatures for UK, Ireland, and into the north of France. And the Low Country is below average, quite firmly below average across Iberia, as well as Central and Eastern Europe. We've got some significant colder than average conditions for the time of the year into eastern areas of Europe here. So big contrast between UK and Ireland and eastern areas of Europe. So wanted to also show you this interesting graphic here. Now I am currently building the summer forecast, looking specifically at the spring rainfall so far and the possible consequences of that as we move, particularly at the moment I'm thinking into the early portions of the summer season. So June, very dry ground. There is a little bit of conflicting reports with regards to drought. We're not in a drought, and when you look at the reservoirs across much of England and Wales, they're actually in fairly healthy condition. Remember, we had a wetter summer. Yes, average was just fraction below the average for the June through August period, but we came off a very wet winter, not last winter, but the winter before that. And we also seen a very, very wet spring last year, which I believe anyway, in combination with the Enzo transition from El Nino to La Nina, we seen a very wet spring. In fact, it was the 6th wettest spring for the UK last year. And this is how it looks in terms of soil moisture. I believe this is soil moisture. This was April last year, and this is April this year. So a very, very different look completely. This is April this year compared to fairly dark oranges, especially across England and Wales. A little bit less in the way of soil moisture deficits across much of Scotland, if you notice here, but still nonetheless firmly drier than average. Northern Ireland's the same, but down across the south of Ireland it actually isn't looking quite as bad. But this can lead to warmer temperatures. Yes, we may start to see a decrease in pressure towards the end of May and even into the month of June, but with any kind of surge of heat from the south, with the dry ground, there's less evaporation, there's less moisture getting released out of the ground into the atmosphere. That tends to lead to some of the energy from the sun going into evaporation. When you've got less in the way of moisture, that solar radiation, solar energy heats the air much more efficiently. And that is the concern for a potential hot spell into the month of June. Remember 2 Junes ago we had actually a record-breaking warm June, and it's going to be interesting to see how this pattern evolves as we go forward. So looking at the latest, and more on this, by the way, as we go through next week. This is the latest visible satellite imagery. We've got the almost clear blue skies across much of the UK, a little bit in the west side of Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, but generally mainland UK is looking very, very good indeed. Temperatures are responding as well. We don't have a super warm air mass in place, but with the strength of the sun at this time of year, dry ground, we are seeing the temperatures respond. We are going to see the temperatures tick up as we go through the course of the weekend here. Area of low pressure that's creating some instability, showers, thunderstorms over northern Iberia, for example, into Biscay, into parts of western France. That system may try to edge up, and it is going to edge up through the course of the weekend. We've also got a frontal boundary that is approaching the northwest of the UK as we move towards the Sunday time frame. But this area of high pressure at the moment is keeping the system to the south and to the north somewhat at bay. So sunshine, warm temperatures as a result, and a lack of rainfall. So looking at the UK specifically, and looking glorious. Wow, this is absolutely superb, isn't it? Let's hope, by the way, that this isn't all just coming too early. That's something that has to be taken into consideration as well, is the fact that all this dry weather during the springtime can flip, can change. We've seen it in years gone by. 2012, for example, is a good example, where we've seen a very dry spring, and then we've seen one of the wettest summers. I believe 2007, if I'm right in saying, also seen that. But we've also got in the mix 2003, and we've also got 2018 as well. It can continue on into the summer, and we can see some pretty hot, dry summers following on from a dry spring. But it could go either way, folks. We also have another thing to consider: very warm waters compared to average surrounding the UK and Ireland. Now that can also boost the temperatures, but also can increase, once you get lower pressure over top of those warm waters, can increase the levels of moisture within the atmosphere. You get bigger rainfall. Flood events is also a concern when you've got these very, very mild water temperatures surrounding the British Isles. So looking at the current temperatures then, we've got 21 at both Tain and Inverness, a little bit fresher further northeast into Aberdeenshire. We've also got fresher conditions across the northwest Highlands, for example, at 17, 17 Celsius, 16.9 to be exact, at Loch Liscarnock. We've got 18, 19 through the central belt, and then as you progress further south over the UK and England, Wales, we've got generally upper teens, low 20s, generally speaking. Same for Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland as well. Looking at this is off the UK Met model here. This is the high resolution, and this is in terms of rainfall and cloud cover. And this is the current situation here over the UK. And you can see that we've got largely clear skies to speak about through the course of today, overnight tonight. Where you've got the shelter, you've got the low-lying areas, we are going to see the temperatures coming down. Not overly cold tonight, by the way, because we are starting to kind of build that warmth. Therefore, we don't get quite the same level of cooling overnight when you're starting to build the warmth within the atmosphere here. You get a little bit less heat release when you're building warm air within a given area. But you can see here as we're playing right the way through the loop, there's the frontal boundary edging in to the northwest of the chart here. So we're flirting with something a little bit more unsettled, but it looks as if the high is keeping that boundary well out offshore of the Outer Hebrides. We're also getting a little bit of high-level cloud now starting to build in to the south during the course of Saturday afternoon. Also a few showers being picked out here over the North Highlands, for example. But generally speaking, Saturday is looking pretty darn decent as well. Moving then into the day on Sunday, you can see here that frontal system just trying to get a little bit closer to the UK and Ireland. But again, like Saturday, not a whole lot to speak about. So initially I thought we were going to see the boundary moving into the north, system coming in from the south. It's not looking quite as mixed as what I originally thought. But this is as we move into the afternoon on Sunday. We've got the strong daytime heating. Again, we've got some showers starting to show up over the high ground north of the Scottish Central Belt. We've got some rain convective lines, possibly a little bit of sea breeze thrown in there for good measure as well, creating some convergence and the development of lines of thunderstorms, for example, over eastern parts of the Republic of Ireland, through the central region, and also near the Atlantic coast. Also, we've got a more organised band of precipitation showing up towards the end of Sunday, if you notice. But the UK Met model is not overly enthusiastic about widespread showers and thunderstorms developing here. You notice that that frontal boundary never really came to much across the north of the UK. Continue to play through all the way into next week. And again, we've got a few showers developing here, anywhere from the London area up towards northwest and central Wales, for example. So there's that boundary associated with that low near Biscay, edging into parts of the Midlands and mid Wales, for example. That could trigger some showers and thunderstorms, by the way. Got maybe a couple showing up over southwestern Scotland, the West Highlands, but generally speaking, still lots of sunshine and still lots of warm temperatures as a result of that. The high pressure is going to remain dominant throughout the course of next week here, and this dry spell just keeps on going. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all materializes in terms of any kind of appreciable breakdown in this overall pattern. Let's have a quick look at the temperatures then and see what it is indicating here. So get rid of this advert, and you can see here as we move through the course of today, it's showing temperatures high teens, low 20s. End of the day on Saturday, we've got this cooling taking place, dropping into the mid to possibly low single figures, maybe a couple of frost spots in a few sheltered areas overnight tonight. Then we do it all again. Sun comes up, we see the strong warming taking place. Temperatures again around the Moray Coast, northeast Aberdeenshire, 21, 22 Celsius is quite possible. Even through the central belt, we've got the low 20s to speak about. Northern England, and then as we get into the heart of England, we're generally speaking about temperatures knocking the door of 25 somewhere in mid Wales or the West Midlands, for example, during the course of tomorrow afternoon. Moving ahead then, again, we cool things off, not particularly strongly. We've got the double figures now starting to show up during the overnight period, and then as we move into the day on Sunday, continuing to see that temperature warming up. We do have a 26 showing up East Wales, West Midlands, for example, during Sunday afternoon. Then moving into the day on Monday, we've got the temperature starting to shift. At the core of the warmth, we've got 24 in the Moray Coast. We've also got 23s showing up in the Northwest Highlands. So we're starting to see a little bit of a shift in the core of warmth from east to west during the course of Monday, as we get more of an easterly flow starting to show up here. That pushes the warmth further west, starts to cool the east coast once you start getting more of a pronounced onshore flow from the North Sea, for example. But this is during the course of Monday. 15Z, we've got 24 Celsius in the north of the UK, but we've got temperatures as high as 27 Celsius anywhere from London all the way up towards the Liverpool, Manchester area, for example. Then even moving into the day on Tuesday, same repeat performance, Mediterranean-like kind of conditions, clear blue skies, lots of warm sunshine to speak about here. As I've already said, I'm just hopeful that this isn't just too much too quickly, and it's a very different story further down the road. Moving back on to the long range models, then I want to just kind of play through the pressure chart here real quick, just to see what it indicates into week 2 and beyond, just out of interest. So let's go back to the surface pressure chart here. This is the upcoming 7 days, as I've already shown you. We've got plenty of low pressure down towards France and Iberia, high pressure to the north over the UK and Ireland. Continue to play through this loop. You can see that the high actually reinforces itself over the northern UK, but it's basically protecting the whole UK from any unsettled conditions. So this is the day 4 through 11. This is the day 7 through 14. And again, you've just got that block bang slap over the UK and Ireland here. Just an incredible pattern overall. It's been an incredible spring when you really think about it. And they continue to play through. You notice here, even day 10 through 17, which takes us all the way out to Sunday the 25th of May. Very little in the way of change. That high remains anchored over the UK and Ireland. As we move towards the final days of May, like I shown you in the model yesterday, can't remember which one it was it the ECMWF, I think it might have been, we're seeing lower pressure starting to develop to the north, higher pressure to the south. That would be more classic, if I'm being honest with you, as we head into the month of June. Then you can see sea levels starting to drop off and going below average as we go into the period Wednesday 20th of May through Wednesday the 4th of June. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of precipitation. What's it showing real quick here in terms of the anomaly for the same period? It's actually showing close to average in terms of moisture. So we'll wait and see what happens. Lots of things going on this upcoming weekend. 4 o'clock on Sunday, live stream is back. I will leave a link in the description below today's video. It would be great to see you. It is the first one in around a month or so. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope to see you there. Taking tomorrow off as usual, but the hurricane season forecast is coming up. The summer forecast is coming up on Sunday the 25th of May, and then the tropical outlooks will be every Saturday, as was the case last year, as we move into the early portions of June. So stay tuned, enjoy the sunshine, stay safe wherever you are, have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Sunday with the live stream 4 p.m. Bye-bye.